Boom! What's up, Waves Capital? It's Jacob, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to be keeping it simple, and I want to keep it as candid as I possibly can for you guys, because I pretty much just want to summarize my general thoughts on the current state of the markets. Of course, both the equity or stock and the crypto markets. And to do that, we will be taking a look at a couple of charts. Just the two big dogs. We will be taking a look at Bitcoin and the S&P 500. I want to talk to you guys about why I believe the remainder of 2022, so the next couple of weeks as we close out the month of December, is pretty much a wash. And we have covered and discussed many of these reasons over the past couple of weeks that still hold true, but I will do my best to reiterate those. But, to shine some light here, to hopefully bring some fireworks into the new year, I want to talk about why I do think that even leading into 2023, so maybe even after Christmas, a little post-Christmas rally, or definitely going into the month of January, I do think the bulls can make a comeback. I've already decided that I'll title this video something like, the Bears won this round, but the bulls will make a comeback, or Bears won the battle, bulls will win the war. Probably go with that one. But again, you guys, I do think the remainder of 2022, for the most part, is not going to be fun. I do think the majority of at least the short-term downside is behind us after this little 3-day route we've seen. Thankfully, Waves Capital was very well equipped. We were very prepared over this past week, and I hope you guys, or at least some of you, kind of obliged or were paying attention to kind of what I was implying about my personal positioning over the past couple of weeks. Because again, Waves Capital, the Waves Cap portfolio has performed extremely well over the past few days, following the Fed meeting, the FOMC results, and Jerome Powell's speech. And thankfully, I was able to deploy a whole bunch of profits from those put options into some longer term call options, and just common share positions as well that I'm really excited about right now. So on top of taking a look at Bitcoin and the S&P 500 on the charts, reading through the newsletter, talking about why I do think the bulls can make a comeback as we head into the new year. I also just want to rapid fire a few names that I'm super excited about. Just go down the watch list, maybe keep it to like 7 or 8 names, but just give you guys my quick short and sweet thesis on why I'm excited about these companies, what they do, and again, why I'm just pumped that they're now in the portfolio. Okay, so let's kick it off by reading the newsletter, you guys. If for some reason you're new, I know the markets are slow. I know. I mean, the entire nature of investing and trading has left kind of a sour taste in the mouths of many. So if you're still around, you're one of the remaining few. If you happen to be new here, then welcome to Waves Capital. Welcome to the Waves fam. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and of course I'll do the plug later, because of course you guys, if you do want to know how I'm personally trading, like exactly what my portfolio looks like on a day-to-day basis, which is of course updated every day with every trade I make, that's the first link down below, but I'll plug that after we read this. Okay, so boom, let's scroll to the top. Don't want to start halfway through. So it's been a busy day within the Waves portfolio as we close out a volatile week. Again, the past 3 days, absolute rout in the entirety of the markets, not just the Dow and the S&P, but pretty much everything else, as you guys know. So we're going to dive straight into trades today, but before we do, I want to congratulate all of you who executed upon our game plan this week. We established our short-term macro thesis, and we called it damn near perfectly, and I'll explain. I will explain why I was so confident and why I was trading very short-term calls, which I rarely do, as we look at the SPY, because again, everything's 2020 in retrospect, but thankfully with the S&P 500, there were so many, not just technical indicators, but macro, like fundamental indicators as well, that made this trade pretty easily, and thankfully it panned out extremely in our favor. Okay, so there were some moments of uncertainty, as there always are in trading. That's the game, but we stood our ground in the face of pressure, in the face of adversity, and we came out on top. Okay, so cheers to you guys. Again, if you got in on some of these puts, even if you aren't part of the portfolio, but you could tell that I was bearish in the short term, and you swooped up some put options, then congrats to you. It's all deserved. Okay, so put options profits have been solidified, and although the short term remains uncertain, I'm happy to say that the bull in me has returned. The options portfolio now solely consists of calls. and I'm extremely confident in the new build out of the portfolio. We're positioned in a diverse set of names across a multitude of sectors, and the contracts themselves are nicely diversified as well when it comes to the dates of their expirations. Cheers to the week and cheers to the future, you guys. I trust that 2023 will be an amazing year for Waves Cap. And of course, steak and sushi this weekend. So, yeah, again, you guys, times are slow, but we're still celebrating. You still got to celebrate the wins, even though, it's not 50K in a day type of win as of right now. It's still big wins. And again, I was really excited to redistribute some of the major profits that we got off of these put options into some of my longer term call positions. Because I do want to reiterate the fact that, again, the short term is an absolute toss up. The short term technicals and fundamentals still heavily favor the bears. But when I'm saying the bulls will make a comeback, I'm talking more on a medium to longer term time horizon. So once again, maybe not the next couple of weeks, but as we kick off the new year, going into January, entering spring of 2023, I do think the macro backdrop will change. I think the Fed's going to ease up. I think inflation is going to become exponentially cooler as the next month or two progresses. And that's how I'm structuring the portfolio. So it's rare I do this, but I do want to give you guys an insight, if you're not part of the portfolio, into kind of what the trade aspect or where I rationalize my trades looks like, just kind of on a daily basis. And keep it short, sweet, not going super intricate, but that's I felt that's best for everyone, not to get super deep. And again, I do write a price targets newsletter right after the trade alerts newsletter, where we take a look at the charts, I take screenshots of the charts, and we talk real-time price action, price targets. Okay, so anyway, just want to give you guys a taste of this if you're unfamiliar, just to, if you guys want to hit it up. But to kick things off, I sold all of my remaining 12/16 put options contracts for a massive win on the week. Again, it's so rare, and I hate when that happens. It's actually very rare, and I really can't point out many times that I have. I can't point to many times that I've actually traded contracts into expiry. I never let contracts expire. That's just me. But I held a decent amount of contracts today after selling a bunch yesterday that expired on 12/16. And I almost recommend no one ever do that again. It's not, I don't know why this is happening, but it's very rare I do that. It's objectively risky. I made that very clear over the past few days as I held onto these calls, put options as I held onto these puts. But again, my macro thesis was strong, stood my ground, stuck to my game plan, and it panned out pretty damn beautifully. Okay, I think the puts over the past 2 days alone have like 8x'd, probably 8 or 9x'd my put options over the past couple of days. So that's sick, and you absolutely love to see it. Okay, so again, kick things off. Sold all put options contracts, of course, because they were about to expire. Profits locked in and calls only, baby. Now, onto the busy, exciting aspect of the morning. And that was how I restructured my calls. I highly recommend checking out the screenshot of the portfolio below for specifics, but I'll quickly break down my actions. And I apologize because I will not show you that out of course, respect for the subscribers and members of Waves Capital of the portfolio newsletter group. But again, this is just kind of my general, my thoughts, again, my thought process in a generalized, summarized way. First, sold all of my existing January 20th, 2023 call options. I then bought back contracts from many of the same names, but lowered their strike prices to reduce risk. As always, the weighting of these positions is a direct reflection of my current favorites. For example, I'm most bullish on SoFi Technologies and C3 AI Inc. in the shorter term. So again, I have a range of contracts, so ranging from, again, January all the way into May of 2023. But again, if there is one position that is weighted heavier than the others, again, it's very obvious that is the position or the positions that I'm the most bullish on, okay? So I know that's common sense, but I just figured I'd elaborate on that. But as I'm sure you've noticed, I'm establishing a meaningful amount of longer-term spring 2023 contracts. The short-term fundamental backdrop remains uncertain, but I believe the bulls will return at some point over the coming months. And again, it very well could be sooner. And I do think there's a very decent likelihood that we do see maybe not a comeback, but a meaningful bounce come the new year. And primarily, I'll say right now, it's for tax loss harvesting purposes. Everyone's just selling into their losers to offset any income they've made over the course of 2022. And for many, it's a pretty meaningful offset. For me, it definitely is, and I bet for many of you it is as well. But again, that's just the nature of the game. For sure could have lost more. So at the same time, I'm thankful we stayed virtually, it's not game over by any means, but not the best year. So, 2023 should definitely be looking up for many of us. So, lastly, I'm sure you've noticed that there's another new face in the portfolio. I've decided to establish a position in Virgin Galactic. So we have covered that stock many times here on the channel before, kind of a meme stock, but there is a lot of focus on the space sector right now. And as you guys know, although the market environment is different, there are still those hype-driven sectors. That's why I'm very excited about AI right now. AI in space, and that is kind of reflected in some of the stocks I'm excited about right now. Artificial intelligence and space, whether it's satellite deployment or space exploration or space travel, space tourism, whatever. Space as a subsector of the greater markets, and artificial intelligence are probably my top two candidates for a potential hype rally or hype cycle. Because there's always a bull market somewhere, you guys, even in bear market times. And yeah, space and AI are my two picks. So again, this is a bummer, but this is just the trading game. I was planning to pick up some maxr calls at some point over the coming week. It's been on my watch. I've been watching it because I know SpaceX raised a private round at a crazy valuation. So there's going to be just general hype around the space sector. But I was too late. I was planning to wait for a pullback. Honestly, very likely I would have bought some today. But the stock did jump 120% on some acquisition news, which, the call option on the thing probably would have 100x'd in that case, but not literally, but I mean, pretty damn close. But that's okay, you guys. Again, I do still think it's about playing. If you missed the boat on one name, ultimately, other names within that sector will likely follow. Again, space. Pretty large sector. There is Astra. Astra Space is another fun play. I'm keeping an eye on that one for just if I'm being honest. But right now, SBCE is something I'm excited about. So again, you guys, very casual. I know this is a bit all over the place, but times are slow. It's okay, and I really, it's nice being not stressed at all to sit down and record a video and kind of just talk story with you guys, talk shop, and again, be a little more candid and chill. Okay, so again, you guys, congrats to you if you did get in on some of these puts. It felt really good to obviously profit. Making money is always sick. It felt great to make some profits off of these puts, especially because they were risky. But it felt even better to redeploy that capital into some longer term calls on some names that we will be looking at here shortly. Okay, but as I just said, if you do want to know how I'm personally trading my entire portfolio, the Waves Capital portfolio, on a day-to-day basis, that's the first link in the description box down below. My complete portfolio, daily newsletter. You get everything that this little box right here entails. And of course, you can choose from any of these price plans. $15 a month, $40 for every 3 months. You try free for 7 days, and if you don't like it, you can just bail out. But I really do trust that you guys will be sticking around. And again, I'm really excited for what is in store for Waves Cap come the new year. Okay, so if you do check it out, welcome to the winning team, you guys. And if you are a part of Waves Cap, let me know in the comments down below. Are you eating steak and sushi this weekend? Okay, so plug out of the way, you guys. Again, appreciate it if you guys join, but if not, no worries at all. I do appreciate you if you're still watching the videos, if you're still involved in the game at all, if you're still paying any attention to the markets. Again, you're one of the few. And hardship builds character, and I can assure you that you have significantly more emotional resilience and mental fortitude than most. Okay, so Bitcoin in the shorter term, very, very solid head and shoulders pattern, and because this is one of the first indications that the S&P 500 would lead the markets lower, as the king, the benchmark of the U.S. equity markets. So Bitcoin looking bad. Bitcoin holds a high level of correlation to the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. When Bitcoin's looking bad and the S&P 500 and NASDAQ are looking bad, Apple looking bad, Tesla looking bad, Bitcoin is kind of just the cherry on top because of that corollary factor. Okay, so Bitcoin, I mean, very, very clean head and shoulders. It didn't play out perfectly, but it did resolve. And this is a good example of what I say sometimes when, again, even if a technical pattern isn't perfect, technical patterns are pretty much just visualized psychology. So again, you get the big move up. This is a head and shoulders pattern, classic head and shoulders, creating the first shoulder, a big move up, but then it establishes what is not a higher low, but pretty much a leveled low, creating the symmetrical shoulder. That means that there's not enough interest. You see volume falling as well, following a big pop. And this is a pretty textbook head and shoulders. And although it didn't play out, perfectly, it still did play out in a very textbook manner. And even if you like go from end to end, like bottom to bottom, it's like copy paste that right there. Boom. Damn it. Copy paste that right there. Little boop boop. Okay. Like that's pretty, that's pretty damn textbook right there, actually, from peak to trough. That's actually very satisfying. So perfect example of head and shoulders. Again, you guys, if you have a thesis on the greater markets, on the equity markets, Bitcoin once again is that cherry on top. And from here, I do think now that we have reestablished the bottom end of this range, and the past few days have priced in some pretty strong Fed intervention and offensive Fed. It's really, unless a black swan happens, it's pretty unlikely that we see new lows. I do think it's of course possible that we see new lows, but at the same time, I don't think it's likely. Pub sparking. I apologize for that, but I'll keep this quick. You guys keep the rest quick. So Bitcoin, I do think, I don't know if this is not really an inverse head and shoulders pattern anymore. I thought that was possible in the case that we did get a good Fed meeting, but ultimately, I do think that over the course of 2023, I don't know when this happens, but over the course of 2023, we can go to daily candles quickly right here. Over the course of 2023, I do think this low over here needs to be retested. It has not yet been retested, but this is the previous low on the stair step down from Bitcoin's overall downtrend. We did break out of this. So at this point, again, sideways wouldn't surprise me, but not come 2023, but over the course of 2023, as we progress through the new year, I do think it's very possible that we slowly but surely make our way up to retesting the prior low of, again, the overall previous downtrend, okay, which would take us to about, $26,500, $27,000, okay? So again, time is the factor. Time's always the factor, but that's kind of why I'm structuring my portfolio in a way that favors patience and rewards patience as well, okay? So SPY right here, I'll just close it out on the charts with this, but then we can go into the rapid fire of some of my favorite positions. SPY right here. Again, multiple rejections, very, very significant line of resistance proved from the all-time high dating all the way back to January of this year. So going on a year, almost a year now since the SPY has seen its all-time high. Touch point, created a very significant line of resistance. Little bull trap right here, broke above it, did not close a daily candle above it though. And we did see two rejections off of this resistance, creating also a double top on top of those macro fundamentals. From a technical perspective as well, you can see that we did get rejected almost perfectly, like just fall off a cliff at the intersection, which is very, very satisfying as a technical trader, from long-term resistance, so this red line, macro resistance on the overall downtrend, and this previous line of short-term support that came into play beautifully as new resistance. So right at the intersection, boom, fell off, super satisfying. And again, you guys, because I was very skeptical about the macro, about just kind of the investor reaction to the Fed meetings, if the technicals favor the downside, if there's significant resistance there, then the rational decision is to bet on downside, okay? So again, if you're flipping a coin, in this case, it's not a coin flip if the technicals heavily favor the macro. If the fundamental result, if say that Fed result was a coin flip, but the technicals are like 60, 40, 70, 30 to the downside or one side or the other, you obviously take, you create one big equation with that, and then you obviously take the trade on the favorable ratio. Okay, so yeah, that's just kind of how I knew. Of course, I was looking. I shorted it for full transparency. My two short positions were the Qs, the Nasdaq 100 and Apple. Those obviously did very good. Tesla been falling off a cliff. The one time I don't short Tesla, of course, over the past couple of weeks, is just tanked. So that's all right though. Apple puts, QQ puts, absolutely printed, and that was awesome. So do a quick rapid fire, and then we'll close it out and call it a weekend. And again, times are slow. I don't know when. I'll probably not make another video until pretty close to Christmas, just because I have a lot of family in town, friends in town, dog sitting for a while. So again, the newsletter comes out every day. That is my job, but video is just slow. And again, that's why it's kind of nice to switch it up and just keep it casual. Okay, so the SPY, again, rapid fire. Unity. I like Unity, but not as much as I did before. Unity is a software kind of metaverse play. They focus on game development, but in the most futuristic way possible. Almost if you've heard of Epic Games, like the creators of Fortnite and Unreal Engine, they have like a similar competitor to Unreal Engine in the case that you design video games in very, very complex visuals using their software. Okay, so next is of course AI, C3 AI. They got the best ticker symbol in the game. In that sector, of course, artificial intelligence is next up. As you can see, again, the entirety of the markets were red. Bitcoin, SPY, QQQ, like mega caps were red. AI closed the day up 1.5%, and that speaks very, I mean, that speaks dividends to the potential it has to outperform the greater markets, okay? And what I love to see right now is small caps, again, outperforming. So if you're again, AI and SoFi, a couple of the only names who saw green in the entirety of the market today. Again, as I just said, two of the largest positions in the portfolio and the two plays that I'm also most bullish on in the short term. I do think these can pop into January. Veritone. Very exciting play, very exciting company, also looking promising from a shorter to medium term perspective. Veritone, small cap artificial intelligence company. And you have to keep in mind as well that whenever I take on a position, especially a longer term position, Matterport's a great example of this. Is there the potential for acquisition? The reason that maxr Technologies, a satellite deployment company, again, space play, just popped today is because there's talks of an acquisition deal around like $8 billion or a significant multiple in their market cap. That's why they pop so hard. But again, you guys always think about things like that. Is this company good enough from a revenue perspective, from a growth perspective, and has it gotten beaten down enough? So again, relative to their revenue and their growth metrics, has their market cap, Matterport and SoFi are great examples of this. Very, very companies that are growing and expanding at an insane pace, at a hyper growth pace, sustainably. Profit margins are tightening. You know, they're becoming closer and closer to becoming profitable, but they've gotten absolutely smoked, and their market caps reflect their market caps reflect almost like a legacy play. Okay, so Matterport, SoFi, I think they're both very. I mean, all of the names I'm going to list right now, I do think are poised for acquisition. Unity, again, huge play back in August. They were going to get acquired. They denied acquisition, but that was one of our biggest plays, like, of all time. And again, you guys, that's just, it's obviously entirely speculative, but that's how I personally think as a trader. And that's how, again, playing the speculative aspect, because if you're playing the quants, if you're playing the algorithms, you're not going to win. That's the reality of the markets. You have to have that quantum edge almost, or just, again, that intuitive, that gut feeling edge, because that's where you make, like, the life-changing returns, right? So Matterport, you guys all know what Matterport is. Talked about it forever. SoFi, Riot, not looking too hot in the wake of Bitcoin, but I mean, at this point, it's kind of just a matter of time. I have not sold any of my Riot common share position. I will say I'm not as bullish. Like, I'd be lying if I said I was excited about Riot in the shorter term, but it's gonna make a comeback though, as he always does. ChargePoint and Plug Power. ChargePoint, of course, an EV charging station, the leader in EV chargers. I'm sure many of you have seen them around, like kind of like the gas station of EVs. ChargePoint, I mean, their recent earnings report wasn't very good, but I'm still really bullish on the stock. Also an amazing target for acquisition by a larger player in the space. I'm sorry. Plug Power, hydrogen energy technology, the major leader there. Pretty much they've monopolized the entire hydrogen space. So Plug Power also got a really solid analyst upgrade, giving it 80% upside in 2023, on top of a lot of other great analyst coverage. And from what I've seen in Plug Power, they're also scaling at an amazing pace. Not profitable, so that's obviously taking a toll on the company, same as with all of these, but very bullish on Plug. I do think they could absolutely get acquired, have some partnerships with Amazon, some other major companies, other major corporations. So a great target for acquisition. Carvana's weird. Where's Roblox got smoked? And then, okay, so at the very bottom, you can see maxr closed the day up 125%. Absolutely crazy. That sucks. I almost just want to take that off the watch list, but I won't. But again, Astrospace, very small cap. I'm not personally playing Astrospace right now, but Virgin Galactic, household name at this point, again, was a meme stock, and I'm pretty excited to see what happens there. And again, thankfully got those February calls, so we got some time to see if it plays out. So I'll call it a day there, you guys. I hope you all have a great weekend. I'll talk to you before Christmas, so I'll see you soon, see if we get that Christmas rally or New Year's rally. I don't think we're going to get a rally into Christmas, but I do think it's possible to see a rally into New Year's, and I'll talk to you guys then, okay? So I appreciate you watching. Again, appreciate it if you join Waves Capital for real. Appreciate it if you join the newsletter and portfolio group. But if not, I appreciate you watching now, and I'll talk to you in the comments downstairs. Until then, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.